Hey, 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 welcome to the Awakening Spaces podcast. I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for being here and for just bearing with me as I've learned how to develop and edit and interview and all of the things. This is a new venture for me, and it's something that I'm doing because I really want to spread this message, but I am well aware that I have a lot of learning to do. And so I just wanted to take a moment to thank you. If you're somebody who's been here and you've listened to all of this, it just really, really means a lot that you're here. So anyway, today I'm going to be talking with Kelly Grace. Kelly goes by the Non-Toxic Architect on social media, and Kelly is the managing principal at Travis Price Architects. They are based out of Washington, D.C. And Kelly is dedicated to designing healthy, high-performance homes. So her company, Travis Price Architects, they have been incorporating natural, healthy materials for a very, very long time. Kelly has gone on a personal mission with her own health that's really led her down a lot of rabbit holes. And she's really one of the first architects that I've seen doing a lot of the things that she's doing in terms of creating spaces that really improve our health rather than just creating safe spaces. They are based in Davidson, Maryland, and Kelly and her husband, Matt, live there with their 3 children, Atlas, Adeline, Rourke. They have 20 chickens and a great pup named Blue. I'm really excited for you guys to hear from Kelly today. So without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, Kelly.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to chat with you today. So you go by the Non-Toxic Architect on Instagram, and you and I actually connected on Instagram. We share so many of the same values as it pertains to our homes and the way that we build homes. Like even just before we were, hitting record, we were just talking about how so many of these things are actually code, but in residential construction, they're just not enforced. And I'm seeing the exact same thing. And so I'm really excited to get into the nitty-gritty with you today on this. So I would love for you to introduce yourself and just let us know, how did you become the Non-Toxic Architect?
Too funny. Yes. Hey. Okay. So yes, Kelly Grace. I'm an architect based out of Washington, D.C. I came here for college and never left. In college, I had a professor named Travis Price, and I drank the Kool-Aid early on. He was like the wild modern Einstein, and he was doing design build courses all around the world. So we would build a project in school, and then we'd go build it. And so early on, I was really in the construction architecture blend. It was great to get your hands dirty in school and have these beautiful projects that were really sculptures in the landscape. I got to go to Ireland, but then I was a part of other projects in Machu Picchu, and we went to Italy, and just all over the world. There's these projects, and so I really wanted to work for Travis when I got out of college, but it was the 2008 recession, and architects were not hiring. So I went and got a construction job on Capitol Hill as a kitchen designer and project manager. You kind of wore 1,000 hats. And really got deep into construction there, always keeping my leg in the door at Travis's. I would work in the morning at construction from 6 to 2, and then I'd drive to Travis's from 3 to 7 and work as much as I could just to keep my design self fresh and stay in the know over there. And then when he finally could hire me, I think it was 2011, 3 years later, I came on full time, and it wasn't long until I was actually doing both parts. We had our own construction company, so I was actually being kind of the liaison between the architect and the builder, ultimately becoming the partner in the construction company and partner in the architecture firm for the past 10 years now. So we design a lot of our work in the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, but all across the world, really. But anything that's hip, cool, and modern is kind of where we land it. Trav always landed there, but it wasn't until, I don't know, the past, honestly, 3 years where I really went down the architecture side, ratcheting it up to be healthier. I mean, as a firm, we've always been very naturalist architects. Everything we do is real materials, never been proponents of anything fake. So, you'll see real stone with us, real wood, glass, steel. I mean, always bringing the outside in with huge windows. So, it just felt really natural to go right into the healthy side. Um, and that came out of having kids, really. My son is 6, my daughter's 4, my other son's going to be 2. But my son and daughter were both born on a boat. We lived on a boat in Washington for the last 3 years with them on the boat. And I never got to test that boat, but I swear it's full of mold. I was carpets, it was wet, obviously. And my son to this day still has a really bad sinus congestion, and my daughter has really bad eczema. So it was like always trying to figure that out. And we already had the food pretty much nailed down. Like we've had that since before the kids. We were very clean eaters, very simple. So I didn't think it was anything food based, but we've gone the gamut, right? But that's kind of where I fell into. I can't believe I'm this gung ho about the food and all of the things we do around the house, the products. And my husband's like, you really need a podcast or something. Like you're going into deep on like the stainless steel in the coffee pot and like where's I was just into going into all these layers of like what's in it, and like
Mhm.
calling all this, up all the safety data sheets. And so it just kind of felt natural to just, I can't believe this isn't embedded in our work.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a questioner.
Yeah.
That's what happens, right? And I think it's so important for all of us to just really question everything. Like, what is the food we're eating? What are we putting on our body? What's in the clothes we're wearing? Not from a place of fear, but just to understand, just to know,
Mhm.
just to be informed, and know, what decisions we're making for ourselves and our family. And one of the
Yeah.
things I've loved with following you, is, you are probably the first like licensed architect that I've seen who's really talking about the circadian piece of things. And over the
Mhm.
last couple of years, I actually been on a circadian journey of my own. It started with becoming an electromagnetic radiation specialist, but really even going deeper into like, well, how does the sun impact us? And I need to be getting morning light and, UVA and UVB and all the different like
Mhm.
layers and spectrums and things like that. And I see you really going deep on that. Like even when you're on vacation, you're talking about grounding on the beach. And so
Mhm.
I would love to hear a little bit more about that. Was that also just part of it? Like, what got you into the quantum biology piece of all this?
Good question. When exactly did that come into the fray?
It's also kind of just like a natural progression, I feel
It
like.
really is. Once you start diving into like, where's my food coming from? What's it made of? What are the chemicals in this? And then this is the beauty of the internet a bit. It kind of, unfolds a bit and kind of connects you to different people that you would have never seen otherwise. But there's so many folks in that space, and I'm still very new in that.
Mhm.
It's everything is a quest right now. It's a quest, and like every project is so different. So it's like taking it on a little bit newly each time because every time a new project lands in my lap, I have a new set of skills at that moment, and I'm just trying to like constantly improve on that. But that's where I think like being a holistic architect and like someone who's really designing for the client's health um, to the best of our abilities, right? It's most clients don't know this stuff. So it's really opening up to them from the very beginning of putting, anything on paper and telling them about these different ways to optimize their health and like how can we design a space, design their house so it can unfold into these moments to have this naturally. Like right now, I live in a house in a like suburban neighborhood. Where I'm like, I want to go outside. I'm like in the middle of like the front of the street, like at the sun in the morning with my coffee, I'm like, I don't, it's having these moments where the clients can privately have this, this privacy to, you don't have to be private, but it's nice to be in a garden where you could be grounding in the grass and then you can be sipping your coffee and getting your morning sun. And then, I had no idea until recently how much circadian health affects not just your sleep. Like I thought it was like, oh, it's just your melatonin. No, it's like your gut, your immunity, your fertility. I mean, it's everything, the way that we digest, and it's wild. And I still have such a journey to go on that. Um, but it's designing a house that fits the client. Like it's making shoes that fit and really making sure like, God, I wish I had done that for them. They have no idea that that exists.
Hmm.
Um, and that I think is so cool to be able to help like really pave the path for their health.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? We learn these things on our journey, and every day we're learning something new. So if you're taking this information and you're maybe not even explaining the why behind it to the client,
Hmm.
they, once they have it and then they finally get to that realization, they're going to be so grateful for it. So
Yeah.
can you walk us through how would you design a space for circadian health for your
Hmm.
clients? What are some of the things, where do you start?
I mean, let's just say it's a new home, right? Blank slate site. So tracking the sun is just an absolute critical thing when you place your building. I mean, just from an energy standpoint, bringing the sun in through your south facing glass, right? And and so that you absorb that winter sunlight to warm your house, and then you shade it so that you have cooling in in that south face. So it's like so much about architecture that's like embedded in. And then when you think about bedroom spaces and how tranquil they need to be and how like that is your like 8 hours hopefully of like rest and reprieve, like you're recharging there. So I would be designing it so that the bedroom spaces are far away from the main house, as far as we could get technically, right? That the morning eastern sun is coming through your bedrooms. It's waking you up. There's no blackout curtain. It's um jury's out. This is a new realm for me, a sidebar of like the layers of films on glass. I, this is a trail I've not gotten deep into, but I'm like, oh man, I know enough to be dangerous here. Where I'm like, this is terrible. Like you don't want to look through glass if you're looking through UV films at the sun. So it's like even though you're facing the eastern sun and it's waking you up, you don't necessarily want to be looking at that sun through your filtered glass. Like you
Hmm.
have to step out on your balcony and like look through just the air to the sun. So it's creating those moments where that bedroom needs a step out. Like I need a slider in that bedroom. I need to step out to a little deck. I need to be I need it to happen easily and without any kind of like making it hard on people, right? Step out, grab the sunlight for a few minutes and then go back inside or even stand inside and open it, but like get those direct moments. So for my circadian health, that's one piece. Um, the other piece is I'm trying to work with the International Residential Code Council on actually changing code in bedrooms. I think it's outrageous that we have to have an outlet every 12 feet in a bedroom because of, I get it, fires happened way back when, people were stacking too many outlets, but it's like now we know too much. We can't be having all these outlets around the bed. I mean, we can do kill switches at bedrooms, which I do think is smart. Like let's cut the room um, until we have code that is up with the times.
Hmm.
So and then of course lighting. I mean, we in our firm, I mean, we just want huge windows, big glass windows, so that you don't turn a light bulb on all day. I don't, unless you need it for certain tasks. I wouldn't have it on. And then at night, I would do low light incandescents or candles. Um, but I hate recessed lights. I mean, I only will put them if I have to in a kitchen. Otherwise, it's an up light. And ideally, like you'll see most of our houses have beautiful wood ceilings. Like we want to glow that wood, that natural texture. And firelight. I mean, there's just even stuff I'm like where you're looking at the light. Like they want you to look low, like it's in the fire. There's a lot to be said, but I think if you're an aware designer, you're thinking about all of those little moments.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the films on the windows, that's a tough one because like when you start to learn about building performance and especially, I mean, even just from like condensation control and things like that, you start to wonder, do the pros outweigh the cons?
Yes.
So I think we kind of are getting ourselves into the situation where we really are starting to trap ourselves in these airtight boxes where we're cutting ourselves off from nature completely,
Hmm.
like from the sun. And unless
Yeah.
somebody is aware of how the sun truly impacts every single part of your health, then they don't know that. And they might spend all this time inside, never even open a window, never even open a door, not even realize it.
Well, I don't know if you follow Brent Hull. He's an amazing contractor, like beautiful craftsman, but like historic homes, like opposite of my design taste right now. But I saw a podcast with him and Matt Reisinger, and he was saying how he doesn't even use insulated windows. And I was like, rewind, like what? And
Yeah.
I never found back like more information from him, but his whole goal is designing homes that last 300 years. And I'm thinking that's exactly where I'm aligning 100% with you, using build less, build smarter, build using great natural materials, and think about it in the 300-year time frame. And he was making the point like all of these air seals, these double insulated glass, they break, then condensate fills up. You're constantly changing glazing. You don't do that with old windows. You have one layer of glass. And now we've got triple pane, argon filled, blah, 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 and you're like, all of the possibilities of busting. It's like, you have to really, I mean, when we do modern glass, I mean, it could be a 10 by 10 window and you're
Yeah.
replacing the whole shebang. So this is where I don't know enough here, but I'm like, I question it deeply and I'm like, oh, well, wait a second. If it's not glaze, if it doesn't have a film and it's
Mhm.
single pane, can I look through it to the sun? Will I be okay? You
Yeah.
know? But then code, you can't do that by code. You have to have film on your glazing
Yeah.
anywhere in America, pretty much.
Yeah.
So then it's like this is where the code is so behind in anything healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it like food dyes today, right? Like all of a sudden we're finally talking about them, but for 20 years they've been in our system, like or longer. So I'm like, is this going to be a 20-year, 40-year thing that we're never going to get to change?
I
I hope
know.
not.
I know. I'm curious on that topic, about incandescent lighting because from my understanding, I mean, where are you placing these in homes? Like, have you found a workaround? Because, for recess lighting, um, well, first of all, you got to be careful where you put the incandescent bulb, and you need to make sure the fixture is rated for incandescent. It's not just a one-on-one swap anymore because a lot of these
Mhm.
manufacturers started, making fixtures for LEDs that don't get as hot. So I'm curious to know, like, how do you balance code and incandescence, and any workarounds you can share with us?
I mean, most recessed lights, I shouldn't say most, a lot of recessed lights are compatible for both types of bulbs, right? I literally just changed out all the recessed lights on my first floor because they were the little pancake LEDs.
Hmm.
And I had my husband put in incandescents back in. Or not even just, I mean, they're just cans, like I think it's
With with an
the
E26.
40 bulb. Hmm?
Oh,
Yeah, so like you could put LEDs if you wanted to in that same fixture, but I use incandescents. And, the rating of the fixture, the IC rated insulation and all that layers, I mean, that's code stuff. You have to do that no matter what. But that's where deep cans are. I mean, I don't know how to say this. It's all in the code of like, if it's in an attic space, you would use the properly insulated can. But you can do all that. I mean, there's nothing in code that says you can't. You have to, depending on how you fill out your energy forms for your permit office, you may have to, it's like a checklist of tallying of numbers. So you might not check the box for LED. Um, but at the same time, to be frank, I would spec the fixture that they could change it later either way. And then the code, the
yeah,
code department thinks I'm putting in LED lights. This is where I don't.
that's the workaround. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what but I've struggled to find the recessed cans that are rated. So we'll have to connect on that. And if
Oh,
someone
yeah.
if someone
Fun.
has, wants to know what those are, we can share those with you.
Absolutely.
One of the other things that we chatted about before was grounding too, and like how you incorporate that, or are you incorporating that? And if you can also walk us through like what is grounding and how does that filter into the design?
Well, I think there's grounding is a term, but then there's earthing, right? Earthing is when you're
Yes.
walking barefoot in the earth. And I mean, I started doing this when I moved to this house 3 years ago, and it's amazing how good you feel. Even just getting out in the sun. If you can get out in the sun and earth at the same time, I feel like you're already winning your day. But at this point, I'm a mom of three. I'm a full-time architect. I'm homeschooling my son. Like there's just a lot going on. I'm like, I need to get this stuff done fast. Like I don't have time to go ground for 20, red light for 15, and like it just all these things. Like how am I going to fit it in? So I think grounding is one of those things where, people can do it in their floors of their house. They could ground a certain room, a certain space. I'm all about like making a space, a sanctuary in people's homes that is like their health spot. It's almost like a little spa spot, right? It's like their sauna, a grounded floor in the sauna or outside of the sauna. I like to do it where the sauna is it's like a big room where you have like a metal curtain. They have these sauna curtains, so you can make the sauna side like super hot. And then you
Oh,
could open the curtain, and then you have like hot yoga temps. So your temp is dropped because the curtain's open. And then the floor, I'm in the middle of designing one of these right now, so it hasn't been built, but it's coming. Is a clay-based grounding, like an earth clay floor, but it's got copper in it, and it's got a rod 8 foot deep outside, and so you're grounding while you're sauning, and then I've got a red light wall in there. So it's like I'm getting all of these things as quick as I possibly can because like time is precious, right? Like who has time for all this? So if I can put the client in a space or I started out doing this for myself because it's like this is what I want. I want to be able to sauna and like yes, I could go lay on the top level as hot as I could. I could go sit there or I could, you know, sit on, do yoga, do stretching, do pull, like have pulley systems, like kind of do it all in this one, calling it my non-tox wellness box.
oh, I'm obsessed. Okay. I want to go into the detail with you a little bit on this because this is what I've been thinking too for like if we specified an earthen floor and then grounded that and created like a grounded floor, but how does that okay, so I'm assuming that you have like your vapor barrier. I just want to understand the details here, like your insulation, your vapor barrier, and then the floor. And you put the copper in the clay so that you can ground that separately. So you're not actually getting the grounding from the earth in the
I wish.
ground.
I wish. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think y- that's my like health hack, right? I mean, I
Good.
definitely think go out and go in the grass as much as you can barefoot. Like when I'm at my kids' soccer games, I'm kicking my shoes off and I'm walking around in the grass. Like whatever I can fit it in, I'm doing that. Um, but yeah, you're creating a grounded floor while you're doing all your other jazz. And yeah,
So this
it's exactly what I want.
I want this too. I love this
hmm
idea. For the have now you said this wasn't built yet. So you haven't actually tested the ground yet, but I'm assuming that once they're installing it at all, you'll do some testing to see if it's
Yeah, I
ground.
mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't pretend that I'm gonna be wearing and doing all these hats, right? Like, as an architect, I'm the orchestrator, right? I'm big
Mhm.
picture down to little details of the building. But when it comes to my mechanical systems, my electrical systems, my grounding, like, we hire consultants for that. Like, I'm not even about to go pretend like I'm the professional that's gonna get all that right. Like, and I don't have the bandwidth for it. So I want to know enough to be able to bring all the pieces together and like, question all the things, but you still need an amazing mechanical consultant. You still need, we are seeking out the perfect person for the grounding. Like you
Yeah.
have to reach out and do these things. I'm not even gonna go there. I have too
Yeah.
many hats to wear.
I shouldn't have said that you were going to do it, but there
No,
will
no, but it's yeah,
someone
yeah,
will
yeah.
do that. So you'll know. I can't wait to hear how that goes. That's an
hmm
awesome detail. And I think, yeah, it can transform the health of the home. This is like going above and beyond. This isn't just a safe home. This is truly healthy where you're actually getting some real benefit to having that.
I
It's
would
awesome.
convince a client all day long to like bag a bedroom for this room. Like let's talk about like let's get deep into how do you live? I mean, when we used to live on a boat, I mean, I wish I still lived on that boat sometimes because it was the most minimalist living ever. All my furniture was
Mhm.
built in. I couldn't bring much on there. It was whatever I could fit. And that's smart architecture to me is like going through those details with the clients, stripping them away of all the stuff. And I don't mean like there's mementos and like there's things you want to keep, but like I don't know. Can we do a lot more with less? Yes. And like
Yeah.
give yourself the freedom and the space to like enjoy life without all this complexity.
Yes, I
So,
love that.
but the health box is totally nuanced, right? Because I'm sure you get this, like you're down the trail and you're like, well, shoot, like I want a red light, but then I'm like, how many EMFs am I getting blasted by? And I want a sauna and I want to do it quick. The only way to quick sauna is an electric sauna because I was going to do a fire burning one. And I love that. But it's like, okay, well, you need an hour to burn that baby to get it to the temperature. So I'm in a lot of anomaly worlds right now, but I'm like, you know what? I, I don't know what to say. There's only so many ways.
Well, you can copyright the design, create a template, people can pop it in their
Exactly.
house. So reach
Yeah.
out to Kelly in, I don't know, maybe we'll call it a year and get the
Yeah.
feedback on where we landed with all this because it's
Exactly. Hopefully
so
Q2 next
amazing.
year.
Yeah. I love that. Just the whole like minimalist living too. Like it's so crazy how when we start to just remove the clutter from our lives, like how much better we feel. It's an energetic thing too. It really is.
100%.
It's less
Yes.
dust, just less maintenance.
All the cleaning. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Just exactly.
yeah.
Mm, big time.
So I want to kind of switch directions. I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, one part of non-toxic would be mold and microbial growth. And you shared about your time on the boat. How do you um, how do you make it easier to monitor, or how do you incorporate ways that make it easier to monitor into the design when it comes to microbial growth or mold? Is there anything special you do there?
I mean, at this point, just talking from ground up, new construction, right? I mean, I'm all about permeability of materials. How quickly can they dry out? Are the air cavities big enough to make them dry out? Um, what's the perm rating of every layer of the wall sandwich from the very facade all the way through? And if that to me isn't like a full permeable like I call it a wall sandwich, but if that's not doing its job, then I've failed in that sense, right? Like the last thing I would want to do is put a wall finish on the inside that has no permeability, which so many wall finishes do. I just did a post this morning about wallpaper. Like so many people are putting these vinyl wallpapers that are, in vogue right now. And I'm like, your wall can't breathe at all now. Like, it's like you have to know what every little part does. And so I think, your house is a living, breathing system. I'm still like questioning some of the airtight. I do believe in airtight design. I think, it's like I question a lot of things. I'm like, the old days it just dried out, but I understand it was not energy efficient. But I kind of loathe having to always have energy to provide, like to make a house work, like systems, power, like not to say it has to be off grid, but how can we have our cake and eat it too? Like, how can we design this thing that if the systems weren't running, my house wouldn't turn into a mold bowl? Like, I hate that's like, yeah, well, if you're not breathing with your systems, then yeah. So I'm like, so I question and probe about a lot about that when I'm designing and like talking with the client. And so I mean, I think it's all about redundancies too. I think the cool thing about modern architecture is it lends itself to just so many more options on how to create wall assemblies that aren't just drywall and mud, right? Like I could have exposed wood panels that are exposed fasteners, stainless steel screws that are beautiful, that could be popped off and I could see what's going on. And I'm not going to wreck my wall. Like modernism just does that. There's just so many like materials that I think, my personal opinion is it just gives you a lot more leverage. You're not pulling off a 7-layer base trim. I'm seeing what all these things are and I can account for it. Um, so I don't know. I mean, every house is unique and different in our world, but I'm always thinking about how can I see this? How can I clean it up? I know a lot of people are putting all of their insulation outboard and just having exposed studs on the inside. Um, I'm really excited to try this new product called Aircrete. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's like this beautiful building blocks. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
seems genius. I mean, I really don't have a downside for it yet, other than a little bit tricky to run electrical, but we could work
Yeah.
it out. I mean, it's not that yet. Um, But so much of mold control, I hate to say it, it's like cleanliness, number one. Like if you don't wipe down your surfaces with like a damp cloth to get that dust up and do your maintenance on your HVAC, like a lot of it's that. But, people get lazy and they don't, it's like it could be it's the best thing for you to have someone else on a maintenance contract for your house. It's so hard to keep it on to do it yourself. It's not so hard, but you know what I mean? Life gets busy and then you've forgotten to replace your filters. And I mean, if you don't have like air and water is like checked, like that's the first steps of a healthy home, right? Like those just have to be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the hardest part. I always like use the analogy of like we can design this perfectly healthy home, just like if we go to the gym and we get ripped and we like get a six pack and then all of a sudden we just stop going to the gym, like we can't expect our muscle mass to stay. Like it's all going to go away. And that's the same thing with when
Exactly.
we build a healthy home. We do all these things, we invest all this money, but if we don't maintain it, it's all
Hmm.
for nothing really, because that's like half the battle. And that's also why I just like encourage people just to build smaller footprints, because unless
Yes.
you are going to have somebody who's maintaining it, these spaces are just going to go totally like
Hmm.
non-used, and then they're not going to get the attention that they need.
Right.
So I can't agree with that more. And
Yeah.
I love all those things that you were sharing too, just about like using panels that you can pop off and monitor the inside of the wall. Because I think a lot of people who come to me who have mold trauma, they're like, I want to leave all my plumbing exposed. I want to be able to see everything. And I get that. But I also think there's an aspect to that where we start to like give ourselves, if we're leaving everything exposed and it just looks ugly, it's a
Hmm.
constant reminder of that trauma and that fear. And like that, is not something we need to be looping in our brains if we're trying
Yes.
to heal.
Yes. And like for a bathroom, like I would always I would tile the whole thing, or I'd put the big wall. They've got tile panels now, or I'd do the
Mhm.
continuous plaster. Like I would have a fully waterproof bathroom if I was I'm always concerned about mold, so like I always push that for all clients. And that's why like modernism too kind of lends itself to floating vanities, floating toilets. I mean, things where you can clean under and see, and everything has its pros and cons, right? But that's where access panels come in, and that's where good design comes up and thinks of places that you could have those panels that you can see. It's and I love leak sensors too. I mean, just all the technology a bit where, again, there's the EMF world, but then there's also like I need the house dry world. Um, but you could do those easily on all of those fixtures and you know, hopefully sleep better at night.
Yeah, absolutely. These are all great tips and tricks.
Yeah.
I want to chat now a little just about materials in general, because you've done a lot of material research, and even before even before you were the non-toxic architect, right? Your company's more of a naturalist using natural materials. So I'm curious, are there any materials that people might think are healthy, but maybe you found the research shows otherwise?
I'll tell you one that surprised the heck out of me that I had no idea about. I was like, it's even on my non-tox page, like granite. I love granite. I love natural stone. I just love how it feels. I love I love all the things about it. I love going to the quarry and picking out the slabs. I had no idea that a lot of granite, depending on where it's from, can be super radioactive. Had no idea. And that like blew my mind because like that is right at, belly height. We're all in the kitchen doing our thing, chopping or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's this beautiful woman I talked to, this biologist that she's from England. And she told me this. And then she had like someone that she knew had, ovarian cancer and she attributed some she doesn't know for sure, but it's like these things that once you once you know that, you can't like unknow that. So now when I go granite shopping, which I don't not do granite now, but there's ways that you can test for radioactive materials and where they're mined from. And like lighter colors apparently are less radioactive than darker. So just a lot of things that I just had no idea in that world. Um, I mean, what else? You know, uh, we did a lot of work with shipping containers. We kind of fell into our lap, which is really funny because most people be like, that's not non-tox at all. But it's funny because it's kind of is. It's a steel box. It's a fully welded steel box that's watertight. airtight. Um, but when we were getting big into it, like it beckoned to use spray foam. And I'm like, ah, because it's so small, it's 8 feet on the outside. You have these little rooms. And the only way we could like really make the rooms work was if we had like tiny, tiny walls. So we were using spray foam. Um, and I was all about spray foam until, 2 years ago. And when I had to do my own attic, and I was like, oh, I'm not going there. And then I'm like, if I'm not going there for myself, how could I for others? It's like I didn't go deep, deep into it until it was like at my doorstep. And yeah, never would I ever spec spray foam at this point. There's so many other ways that we can, make a home energy efficient and airtight without it. There's just so many failures from spray foam that from a toxic fume standpoint, but also from water damage. And then if you ever want to renovate, you're sitting there chipping away at spray
Yeah.
foam to get it out. I mean, it's a mess. There's so many things I could go on about spray foam, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm answering the question there. There's a lot with materials. It's loaded, right? But I
Yeah.
think keeping it simple, keeping it natural, and then really what you finish your materials with. If you're gonna, I love hardwood. But then when you learn about how hardwood is harvested versus engineered wood, then it's a whole nother trail you're going to go down. Like the labor it takes to get to that hardwood versus the engineered, and the types of wood where the labor is crazy. And then so um, it's
Yeah.
all about the finishes at that point too, right? Like really healthy. I like Rubio, like wall, like floor finishes.
Yeah.
Um, But that's the other thing about modernism is a lot of it for us it's just raw wood. Like we won't stain wood, for example. The wood is what the wood is. If you got maple, you're getting maple. If you want
Mm.
walnut, you're getting walnut. And it's a clear, easy finish. It could be linseed oil, it could be something very basic, but we're not trying to make it look like something it's not. So
Mm.
when you kind of just make it down to its bare bones, it just simplifies, right? There's no faking.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that because there is this unspoken, energetic field around trying to be something you're not. And that goes with materials too. It's one of the reasons I absolutely hate like LVT that's like trying to look
Mm,
like wood and all these
yeah.
materials. And it's like wood look and stone look. And it's like, I understand that we all have a budget,
Hmm.
but there's just like an energy of fake. And I just,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't
No, and
like,
even budget aside, like not aside, but like you could do something beautiful with the same budget. It's really just that's where your creativity just has to be really turned on. I mean,
yeah,
there's so many things you could do. Um, but yeah,
well,
I do think everybody feels better when they're around real things.
absolutely. There is like just the negative ions from all of it. But this was actually a perfect segue because I wanted to ask you about like, if somebody wants to do this, they want to build a higher performing home. Like I know that this is just ingrained in everything that you guys do. It's like not even
Hmm.
an option, right? It's baseline. You're getting a higher performing, good quality,
Yeah.
good material home. But if somebody wanted to do this, what are the ways they can do this if they are on a tight budget?
Like if they have an existing home, you mean?
Let's talk about if they're wanting to build new
Yeah. I
or
mean,
existing.
yeah, I mean, I just if we go with building new, it's the same as building in any other way. It's what's your dollar per square foot? What's your square footage? And like we just if you're dealing with professionals that know what they're talking about with what things cost, they are in charge of making sure that they don't design more square footage than you can allow. If your budget can only build a 1,500 square foot house, you might hire us to design phase one, two, and three, right? We might start with 1,500 square feet and give you your most beautiful core, your kitchen, living, dining, and two bedrooms with a bathroom suite, like whatever it is. And then we design it so that you have, a connector to the next little pod you want to put, a guest suite, a health pod. Like if you can't afford it now, dream the dream in the beginning. I obviously site dependent, right? How big is your site? Um, but we work with all kinds of sites. I mean, we're in Washington, D.C., so like a lot of these sites are little city sites. They're not, but that's where creativity is so critical, right? Because an architect can dream up all of those things very, from the beginning. And if you have that, like this dream out here in your sights, like you're going to be working towards it. Like, oh man, I really want that, and I know how much it costs because I just did this. But um, we always say bite off more than you can chew because you can always spit it out, but you don't want to go hungry, right? Like you don't want to know what you can't have unless you see it. So, um, yeah, I would just build less and then wait for it, save up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Um, just building smaller, save on your footprint. And I think you really alluded to this already, but I was sharing with you earlier, I'd say, I don't know how many people, I get 70% of people who call me want to uh, cut out the architect from their project. They don't want to
Mm,
use an architect. They want to save money. They think that's the way to save money. I think that is a horrible mistake. I push for architects all the time. Um,
mhm.
Even if you have a healthy home consultant on your team, like even if I come onto a team, there still needs to be an architect. I see architects saving money on the project. You pay more upfront to have the
Mhm.
architect, but you are going to save money because I've seen so many projects go into lawsuits, go into just the things that I've seen people have to endure. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I actually think that architects actually save money, and I would love to just get your thoughts on that.
I agree. I mean, I think if you ask any good builder out there if they want to build a house without an architect, pretty much every good to excellent builder is going to say no because they're not they want to build off of a set of plans just as much. I mean, they will reject the job if they don't have architectural plans. Um, and It's if you're just doing copy and paste of somebody else's project, that's a little tricky, right? You could probably go get a spec build and use their plans, but most of the houses without architects might be 8 sheets, 10 sheets, a floor plan, an elevation, maybe a wall section, but nothing spec'd, no material call outs. It's all by code, by trade. And who's picking that out? The owner or the builder? And it's like, unless you owner want a second time job where you're doing all the research and all the picking, you could do that. Some people want to try that, but it is an immense amount of selections, right? And just like we just talked about, I mean, you can't just throw up any wall finish on a wall and think it's going to be a safe wall. It could have, I mean, so many instances like paper face drywall in bathrooms where, mold can grow, or wallpaper, or tile installed wrong, bathroom shower drains that are installed absolutely bonkers wrong. Um, there's just so many layers, and I mean, an architect is the composer, right? We are literally like bringing everybody together. And today you can't do a house without MEP engineers at this point in most jurisdictions. So everybody's working together as a team to build it. And we always say like, um, what's our saying? It's like 1 hour of drawing saves 8 hours in the field. Like if you want our detail, and the guys will build. I mean, otherwise they're like, what do we do here? And they're looking up all that
Mhm.
stuff. There's so many things about material compatibility, things that if they go together, they're not meant to go together, they're going to completely corrode, or there's a lot of things that could happen. Um, in architects, we pride ourselves. And when we literally take the safety and the health and the welfare of the people, like, is in our hands. We literally sign off on it. Like, it, that's why I feel like this is so should be code. This show should be in everybody's spec books. It's like, it is health 101, and the
Yeah.
building department needs to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I always say, like, if you don't have an architect, you're just working off a promise without a plan. Like you're getting a promise from a builder saying he's going to do X, Y, and Z. You have zero accountability. You have no idea if that's what's actually going to happen. And I see this like even when people just buy stock plans, it's like it's just yeah. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about building and you're stressed that maybe it's going to be too expensive, reduce your footprint. Don't
Reduce.
skip
That's it.
on an architect if
Reduce.
you want a healthy home, at least, because otherwise you're going to be looking at potential lawsuits, potential mistakes, and probably wanting to end up leaving that home within like 2 years because you realized it just wasn't what you thought it was going to be.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Yep.
So I like to end all of my episodes with a life lesson. So I'm just curious, is there anything that you would like to share with listeners that, and it could pertain to the environment or not pertain to the environment, just like anything that you've learned throughout this process, especially like being on a health journey yourself? Is there anything that you've learned that you think would be a good takeaway for people listening?
Um, I think I've been on the roller coaster for so long, right? Starting with the food and then going to the household goods and then now to like what's in the house. I think everyone has to like take a deep breath, right? And realize you have to do this in small steps. You're not going to just go pitch your house and throw all your stuff away, right? I mean, I joke, I'm like, if you care so much about mold, but you're not drinking mold-free coffee, we have another conversation that needs to be had, right? Like, you got to start with some of the basics and get all of that kind of in check. And I'm just so simplistic with my family and my kids. I mean, we literally get a cow a year, right? And we have all this meat in the freezer, and it's trying to just make things less, minimize, less square footage, less options, less food choices, and just like so you can enjoy life, right? There's just so many
Mhm.
there's so much. And with the way the web is today and instant gratification, we're so bombarded. And like the more you can just strip away and have, like when I cleaned out my closet, for example, and got rid of everything that wasn't cotton, everything that wasn't real materials, like it was really sad at first, but I'm like, it's so nice to go in there and only have a certain amount of things to grab from. I mean, it's just kind of like, wow, you don't need all of this. So I don't know if that's the biggest life lesson, but just minimizing and then just giving yourself the freedom because you don't need so much clutter. And I think that's where the peace comes from. It's getting to a level
Yeah.
of peace. I think it's the most amazing place you could be in life, right? Just peace. So
Yes. Oh my
always
gosh.
trying for it.
Always, always. I couldn't agree with you more. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And thank you so, so much for joining me today and sharing your wisdom. How can people find you if they want to reach out?
So at non-tox architect on Instagram is my new handle. I just started this last year, so and it's like a side thing, right? I'm like trying to like do it while I do work and I'm trying to give all the nuggets I possibly can. But just message me on there. Or you can check out our website at Travis Price Architects is our firm. Um, in either place you'll find us. You'll find me. All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Awakening Spaces podcast. If you're ready to take what you've learned and start applying it to your own home, then there's a few ways that we can support you. On our website, you can find a collection of free and paid guides and courses that will walk you through everything from designing a healthy home to choosing safe materials and reducing mold, chemical, and EMF exposure. And if you're looking for more personalized guidance, then we also offer one-on-one consulting and design support, where we act as your owner's representative to help you plan, manage, and execute your new build or renovation project with confidence. You can explore all of these offerings on our website at awakeningspaces.com. And if this podcast has helped you in any way, we would be so incredibly grateful if you would like, subscribe, and share this podcast so that it can reach more people. Until next time, thank you so much for listening and being here and stepping into what it means to be an awakened homeowner.